Good morning, third grade. We are on 9.4 and we are still comparing fractions, and today's lesson is all about how and what strategies we can use to compare fractions. In unlocking the problem, it says Luca and Anne are eating the same size small pizzas. One plate has 3/4 of Luca's cheese pizza. Another plate has 5/6 of Anne's sausage pizza. Whose plate has more pizza? Now, in our green box, it says circle the numbers you need to compare. We need to compare 3/4 and 5/6. And then it says how many pieces make up each whole pizza. Well, remembering that the bottom number, or the denominator, is the number that the whole is broken into, we have to compare 4 and 6. So compare 3/4 and 5/6. Missing pieces strategy. You can compare fractions by comparing pieces missing from a whole. Shade 3/4 of Luca's pizza and 5/6 of Anne's pizza. And I shaded 3/4 of Luca's and 5/6 of Anne's. Since 1/6 is smaller than 1/4, a smaller piece is missing from Anne's pizza. So Anne's plate has more pizza. Now our next problem says Morgan ran 2/3 of a mile. Alexa ran 1/3 of a mile. Who ran further? Well, compare 2/3 and 1/3. 2/3 is greater than 1/3, so Morgan ran further. It's very easy to compare fractions that have the same denominator. But when we're comparing fractions that have a different denominator, we need to remember that if something is cut into 4 pieces as opposed to 6 pieces, these pieces are going to be larger. It's often helpful to draw a diagram like we have here. Our next problem says Ms. Davis is making a fruit salad with 3/4 pounds of cherries and 3/8 pounds of strawberries. Which weighs less, the cherries or the strawberries? 3/4 pounds of cherries and 3/8 pounds of strawberries. Compare 3/4 and 3/8. Now, using the same numerator, which is the top number, when the numerators are the same, look at the denominators to compare the size of the pieces or the size of the wholes. Now, 4ths are much larger than 8ths. A pie cut into 4 pieces, the pieces are going to be much larger than a pie cut into 8ths. So 3/8 is less than 3/4. So the strawberries weigh less. Now, on Share and Show, it says compare 7/8 and 5/6. They have drawn pies, and you can see that the pieces of the 1/6 are much larger than the pieces of the 1/8. So 7/8 is larger than 5/6. Compare less than, greater than, or equal. Write the strategy you used. 1/2 is less than 2/3. Well, if you take 1/2 of a piece of pie, that's this much, and you have another piece of pie the same size, and you cut it into 2/3, and you take 2 of those thirds, you can easily see that 1/2 is less than 2/3. Now, the next one says 3/4 and 2/4. If you use the strategy of the same denominator, all you have to do is compare the numbers on top. 3 is greater than 2. Now in number 4, I again drew a diagram. 3/8 is less than 3/6. And then compare the denominators. The numerators are the same, so 3/8 has to be less than 3/6 because if you cut a candy bar into 8 pieces and you get 3 of the 8s, I would much rather have 3/6, which is half of that candy bar. Now our last one is 3/4 is less than 7/8. In this one, you're going to compare the denominators and say a piece of pie cut into 8 pieces and a piece of pie cut into 4 pieces. If I cut my pie into 8 pieces, like up here, and I eat all 7/8, and then I cut my pie into 4 pieces and I eat 3 out of the 4, there's a much larger piece of 1/4 than there is 1/8. So 3/4 is less than 7/8. I will let you do on your own, and then do your practice book 9-4, and I will email the answers to your PB book later this afternoon. Have a great Monday.